Hi, I'm Dr. Danielle O'Connor, naturopathic doctor, and I'm here today with Dr. Romi Raina, and we're talking all about the upcoming 2023 Collaborative Education Conference. So welcome, and let's get started. So first off, what's the theme of the upcoming conference?
Thank you so much, Danielle, for having me here today. So excited to be talking to you about this. And yes, we are in the midst, we're in full swing of organizing the 2023 Collaborative Education Conference, for which this year the theme is Integrative Approaches to Hormonal Health. We've been organizing collaborative education, has been organizing naturopathic conferences in Toronto and Vancouver since 2016. This is actually our 14th conference. And though we did a theme on hormonal health once before, this really focuses on integration of medical science with our naturopathic applications, of course, for enhancing patient outcomes.
Amazing. And when is the conference? What's the date?
Yeah, of course. The conference takes place in May. So it's the first weekend of May, and it takes place May 5th, 6th, and 7th. This is the first time we've done a 3-day conference. Previously, we've done weekend conferences, but we just want to jam in as much good, solid, efficient learning as possible in that weekend, including a good slew of pharmacology courses, just so that the naturopathic doctors can kind of get everything all in one shot on one weekend.
Amazing. And so is the conference in person or is it online, and where is it all happening?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's kind of happening everywhere because it's actually both. So this year we're running a hybrid event, meaning that registrants can attend either live in person or live online. And actually, we have been putting on hybrid events like this even prior to the pandemic, but we are definitely very excited to be back in person, back again that way. And for the in-person portion of the conference, that will be taking place downtown Toronto, kind of on the east end. But one of the good things about registration this year is that there are various registration options. So registration can be combined in a variety of ways. A registrant can attend for 1, 2, or 3, all 3 days, and they can have a sort of a mix and match of online attendance, in-person attendance, depending on what their availability is. And of course, we're pretty flexible as well, that for those that are registered for live online, that they also do get a conference recording as well. So conference recordings are also made available to in-person attendees, but that will be provided at the actual event as well. So we do really make it kind of as accessible as possible, as available as possible, because we know how busy naturopathic doctors are.
Amazing. No, it sounds wonderful to have all of those options. So that's fantastic. So if you can tell me what makes this conference really stand out compared to other naturopathic conferences?
I really like that question, Danielle. And it really has everything to do with why we started collaborative education and why we started this, 8 years ago. We, as a naturopathic doctor myself, we sort of noticed where things were at that time, and we just thought that there was room for improvement. We really endeavored to enhance the professional standard for continuing education. And you know what, when I look around now, whether I look at our own events or even other naturopathic events, I do think we're getting better and better year to year. So that's been amazing. And because of that, we really stick to our ethos of ensuring that our content is stimulating, engaging, and accessible. We really focus on clinical application so that the naturopathic doctor in attendance has tangible things to apply to the clinical practice pretty much Monday, like as soon as they get back into clinic. We really do respect naturopathic doctors' time. As a naturopathic doctor myself, I can certainly relate that though I need my CE, I have very little time to actually achieve it. So we want to make sure that it's an enriching experience as much as possible for the NDs in attendance, and that it's always seen as time well spent. Time is important. We make sure that our agenda is streamlined. So it's really pieces of information that are not reviewed, dive into the meat and potatoes of the content information, not belaboring the point with 2-hour or longer presentations. So to be really quick and efficient that way. We also run a boutique style trade show, meaning when you go into the trade show, you're not inundated by dozens and dozens of enterprises that are garnering for your attention. Rather, it's a select few that we know naturopaths engage with all the time, and is valuable for them to also engage with them actually on a smaller scale at the Collaborative Education Conference, which I think both the reps and the attendees tend to like. So it's nice to see that synergy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Overall, we want to make it accessible as possible, and I think that's reflected in the way that we provide the products.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds with having the trade show there, as well as it being in person or online, having a lot of those options. And like you said, having really great content that you can take with you and start implementing into your practice right away. That's what we're looking for as naturopaths. So yeah, this sounds amazing. So I know you mentioned naturopathic doctors. This is who the conference is for. Is it specific to age or stage or anything like that?
You know what? That's a really good question. I would say not really. We really want to make this as available for naturopathic doctors, whether they have a general practice and they're starting out, whether they have a hormone-related focused practice, and they're kind of in the midst of their profession. Certainly, this is kind of a conference that's been organized by NDs, designed by NDs, and it's kind of for NDs. We really do keep the naturopathic doctor in mind. Naturopathic doctors really from anywhere in the world, but especially Canada, when we were organizing this conference. Having said that, I believe that really all registered health professionals can gain from attending this conference. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of great information there that in order for other health professionals to learn more about what we do as naturopaths, they can definitely benefit as well as a lot of the details there. But now I want to get into some of like the nitty gritty, because I want to know who is the keynote speaker and what are they going to be talking about?
Yeah, well, we had actually a little bit of a challenge on that, like as far as selecting a single keynote speaker. We have such a great lineup of speakers. We're tapping into such great educators, actually, that we actually have two keynote speakers. So one, we have Dr. Sarah Wilson, ND, who is an amazing clinician and just amazing educator. And she'll be taking, and she tends to, in her presentations, to take a deep dive into the evidence for the topics that she speaks on. During the Collaborative Education Conference in May, she'll be speaking on bioidentical hormone replacement therapy for NDs and what the latest research has to say about that. She will also be speaking on the science behind subclinical hypothyroidism, which I know is a topic that many naturopaths have to navigate. But secondly, we are also having Dr. Benoit Tano, medical doctor. He's an Ivy League educated medical doctor and allergist specialist from the US. His main life's work and clinical focus is, it's his research focus and clinical work on the association between the endocrine system and the immune system. And so his presentations are going to be twofold. One will focus on novel hormone therapies, so kind of cutting edge stuff. And then he'll be speaking on kind of his more core work, which is the impact of environmental toxins on the endocrine physiology and pathophysiology. So I've seen some of his work, quite a bit of his work, and he really brings in data sets from diverse places. And it's really fascinating to see. One of his slides that I love, because I've seen some of his presentations, is called the golden links of chronic disease. And he applies his knowledge and experience, which is vast, in explaining these little connections across the immune system and across the endocrine system and across our environmental exposures, and making these amazing connections. Really, really neat stuff.
Yeah, that sounds amazing for having two separate keynote speakers. Those topics sound amazing. So very, very exciting. Now, we know it's a 3-day conference. So who are some of the other speakers that are going to be there?
Yeah, it was actually even difficult to actually think of who's going to be the keynote, because we have a great lineup of speakers and lots of really fantastic speakers lined up for this year as well. A lot of naturopathic doctors know about Dr. Jordan Robertson, who's an ND as well, because she has a lot of focus on hormone health, and she'll be speaking on endometriosis and its clinical management. Of course, we know our naturopathic elder and educator, Dr. Paul Saunders, who will be speaking on lab testing for the thyroid and adrenal glands and the relationships that we see clinically with that. Another speaker who I regard as someone who is just full of clinical experience, and that's Dr. Pamela Frank. She's been an ND in Toronto for many, many years, and she's going to be speaking about unlocking the secrets of PCOS. So those are just a few examples of some of the additional speakers that we have, but we're really looking forward to hearing their content this year for sure.
Yeah, amazing. That's, a lot of great experience that those naturopaths have had that they'll be able to, pass on great information to the attendees. So that's very exciting. Now, obviously, as naturopaths, we are coming to the conference. We are going to enjoy the speakers. We're going to enjoy the trade show. But let's talk about continuing education credits, because we know this is something that we also need to make sure that we're getting enough of to maintain our license. So can you just tell me what types of credits are going to be available for the attendees at the conference?
Definitely super important stuff. We want to make sure that our time is well used and we get the credits that we need, that we require. And that's a major thrust for our conference. It's always been the core thrust of our conferences. We've done 14 conferences now. All of them have provided the number of credits they were designed to provide, and this year is going to be no different. So for the 2023 Collaborative Education Conference, it will provide 15 CE credits across the 3 days, and that includes 3 pharmacology credits. Now, depending on where you are from Canada, that might mean different things. So certainly for the Ontario naturopaths, that would add up to be 15 Category A credits, according to Kono. With respect to, we'll go to the other end of the country, to Vancouver, their setup is a little bit different. This conference has 12 eligible Category C credits, and then 3 Category F credits that will be on the Friday. So Category F are very useful pharm credits, as we all know. And so there are some useful things there. And then smack dab sort of in the middle, we have Alberta, and the whole conference is already eligible for Category B credits, which are useful.
Amazing.
So we want to make sure it's as valuable as possible for all ND attendees.
Yes, definitely. That's great. In terms of the schedule, again, I know you mentioned the trade show, but what does the schedule look like for the conference, since it's a Friday to Sunday conference?
Yeah, we that's where we really want to make sure that every minute spent in that conference experience is valuable time, that you're not left there thinking, oh, I should be doing something else. So it is a very streamlined agenda. We want to make sure you're constantly engaged if you're attending. And that means that every session is streamlined, an hour to an hour and a half, get your information, learn your piece, and then go on to the next thing. But there's also plenty of time for mingling if you're in person, to eat. There'll be a lot of food at the in-person event. But there's also time to visit our boutique trade show, which is both online and in person. So even online attendees can actually go into you'll click a button and go into the trade show, and there'll be these virtual booths that can be attended. You can actually have live one-on-one interaction through video meetings with reps. They're going to leave material for attendees in those virtual trade booths that can be downloaded and viewed. And then still online trade show attendees would still get access to trade show discounts and things like that too. So we want to make sure that everyone attending is super engaged. But then again, the topics are going to be very engaging too. We'll have a pretty deep discussion on endometriosis as a whole. And that was intentional. We think in the curriculum that needs to be advanced a little bit more. Thyroid and adrenal lab testing, the pharmacology of BHRT for NDs, the management of subclinical hypothyroidism, the gut hormone connection, which I don't think gets talked about enough, adult female hormonal acne, which I know a lot of people struggle with, PCOS, as a separate but related topic will be discussed during the conference. And then, of course, so sort of the connection between environmental toxins and hormonal health. So between all those awesome topics, the trade show, a little bit of eating, a little bit of mingling, it should be a really fun and educational time.
Sounds amazing. So really, last question is, what is the cost of attending the conference and what is included in that registration fee?
Yeah, for sure. So because there are so many different registration options, the registration fee kind of ranges a little bit. So as low as $145 up to about $500, depending on whether you're attending 1, 2, or 3 days, and if it's online or in person, or sort of a combination thereof. So all those different ways to attend over the course of the weekend are in place. In addition to the registration, obviously, in-person attendees are going to get their swag bag. They're going to get fed all weekend. There'll be some promotional items there. They're going to have, unlimited access to all the conference notes. Of course, meeting all of their colleagues once again in a space and getting their education and credits. And then for the online attendees, it's live online access, hearing and seeing all the presentations, attending the online trade show, and having access to the recordings as well. So there are a bunch of offerings within there which are pretty useful.
That's amazing. Great information. Thank you so much for joining me today and really going through everything that's going to be offered for the upcoming 2023 Collaborative Education Conference. So if anybody would like information or to purchase tickets, they can go to collaborativeenducation.ca, and you can really see all of the different options that are being offered there. So yes, thank you so much, and definitely looking forward to this one.
Thank you so much, Danielle. Thank you for having me here and for chatting about this today.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.